lastly, I want you to think about something. You know, there's a lot of analogies that I make and some other people make about, you know, this and that or a third or whatever you think I'm going to say. All right? Well, here's the thing, though. You know, we feel like less of a man when we don't got no swimmers in our balls. Whether it's because we spent it or because we never had it, or we just reached our zenith and we out of it. We ain't got no more, right? It's not even just that. Let's say you're fat. There's a lot of guys. You think of the fat guys that are obese. You know, imagine what they go through, because you think, you know, like, oh, like, you know, sometimes as a black guy or a man of color or somebody who's poor, you know, these are different adversities that people face. You know, you think, oh yeah, because I'm poor, I'm white and I'm poor, or I'm black and I'm poor, I got it the baddest. But nobody really has it the baddest. There's always somebody else that has it worse, right? You think about the fat guys, you know, what the fuck about them? What about them, dog? You know what I mean? Every day they go to school, it's like, tubs, you know, because there's a certain amount of jokes that you know when you're poor to expect, or when you're black to expect. You know, they're going to crack a joke that's going to go something like whatever, right? You already know what it is, and you get used to it, and you figure out how to get over it, like it's like you're surfing or something. Same thing with the fat guys, you know? So what the fat guys usually do is they get a belt. You ever notice how, like, skinny guys, they'll never wear a belt, but fat guys always wear a belt, because when a fat guy doesn't have his pants all the way pulled up, it's really plumber's ass. Me and you, it's not plumber's ass. It's like, you know, it's some other joke, but the plumber's ass jokes is usually the fat guys. You know what I mean? It's usually reserved for them. You know what I mean? Something else is like, yo, are you from the ghetto or some shit, you know? Anyhow, so they always make sure, like, whatever I do, I'm gonna have my pants pulled up. So they deal with a lot of fucking tough jokes. But I'm gonna tell you about something totally different. Something I really want you to think about. What if you were a woman? Now, this is something that a lot of women really encourage a lot of guys to think about. And sometimes it's not always in a direct conversation. Sometimes it's in a conversation that's more analytical. Whatever it is, rhetoric or no rhetoric, it's not rhetoric, it's a serious question. What if you're a woman? Not what if somebody took your manhood or shrunk you or, you know, whatever. Just, what if you were born a woman? It's not normal. Well, I'm not gonna say normal. It's not every day when a woman has more muscle mass than a guy. It's not every day when a woman is taller or faster than a guy. But ingenuity is something that actually kind of levels the playing field. Whenever a woman doesn't, by the roll of the dice or by God's providence, actually have the genetics where she's taller than a guy or have more muscle mass than a guy. Okay? Now, skill is something that can always be acquired. A woman could acquire the skills to be more of an expert than a man when it comes to martial arts, when it comes to policing, when it comes to marshalling, when it comes to anything. And I do mean anything and everything, right? But as a man, sometimes I say to myself, you know what? Why should I complain? You know, because, yeah, my skin color matters to somebody else. Yeah, my economic bracket matters to somebody else. But it doesn't matter to me, and it doesn't matter to the people that are my friends and my loved ones. So I shouldn't let it get me down. And it won't. If you discipline yourself, if I discipline myself enough that I get used to sacrificing 100 sheep for those 10 lions. Or, in our sake, for those 10 panthers. Because what if you actually were a woman and you were walking home on a night like this? And I had my MacBook and I was a woman and somebody was trying to advantage of me and they don't want to rape me. They just want my MacBook. Because that's the reality with a lot of people that can pawn my MacBook and turn it into whatever they're going to give to their connection to get drugs to sell.